and feel it is a basic things, but for today it's basic. For tomorrow it's going to be more. Just bear with me for today if you know the topics already. I'm muting you all. So I hope everything clear. If you find any problems, just ping me a message in chat. So everything, I muted everyone. So we'll start. So first thing we'll discuss Git. Everybody knows Git is a distributed revision or version control system. So everything comes from a problem. The solution always comes from a problem. So earlier, before Git or before any version control system, there are a lot of problems. We'll discuss those problems first, then you will better understand the solution. Version control system. VCS means version control system. So I will list down the problems. So the first one, for example, I have one notepad. So I'm writing a program here. Hello world. Hi. Just imagine this is a programming. Good morning, something like this. So every day, each and every day, I will be adding more lines. At one point,
I think hello Shiva.
Yeah, hi.
Sorry, somebody is sharing the video again. Like I can see.
Okay. So just they can.
Now it is fine.
Okay.
And again, now it's fine.
Okay. So this is a file you are going to change each and every day. At one point of time, I may ask you, so what is the file 4 or 5 days back? And you are adding like this daily, and you cannot really tell what was the file content 4 days back. That is one of the problem. File content cannot be tracked before some dates, some timestamp. And that is the first problem. And the second problem, since you store the files in your hard disk.
Shiva, I am not able to see your screen.
Maybe that is problem for you. We just better disconnect and connect again. So since you store the files in your hard disk, it may crash anytime and you may lose your content. That is another problem. And if in a project of development, a single file is maybe contains 2000 3000 lines of code, only one person cannot develop all the lines of code. You are working on one functionality, another person is working on another functionality within the same file. So collaboration is really a problem. Multiple persons cannot change the file at a time, or concurrency you can say. So this is one more problem. And tagging, so you will understand this in later classes if you are not aware of this already. And branching in the sense, if you have a very important file, so even one character change in that file may lead to severe problems. If you want to edit that file, what we usually do is we'll just take another copy of the file, we will edit in that duplicate copy. If everything finds, we will just change it into the original file. That's the normal thing we usually do if there is a very important file. So that's called branching actually. So we will talk about this topic more. So without version control system, branching is really very difficult. So these are the problems before version control system. Then people find out a solution. So we'll just introduce one version control system. That's called, first they introduced first generation version control system. So in the first generation, so you may find something sites like SharePoint, where we upload all our files into the SharePoint site, and whenever a person edits that file, that will be locked. So only one person at a time can edit that file. So this is like first generation. Files are in some SharePoint kind of sites. If one person opens a file, there will be lock on that file. Another persons cannot open. So if you are done with your work, you will close that file, and another person will open that file. So this kind of the version control system are first invented as a first generation. So in this, obviously you can see one file cannot be edited at the same time, and people have to wait more time. So that is thing. So the things will become slower. So there, because of those disadvantages, we got a second generation version control system. So this is called centralized control system. So how this works, centralized control system. So there will be a cloud, and you will have your laptops. This is person 1, for example, or developer 1, and developer 2. So you do your work in your laptop, and you will push it to the cloud server. So since you are the only one developer starting of the project, you are doing some things and pushing the content into the cloud, one cloud server, and another second developer join into the team. So first he will check out. It means like this one. He will pull this code, already existing code. So this is called checkout in centralized control system. This is called commit here. Not push, we will call it as commit in centralized control system. So developer 1 did something and committed, and the developer 2 joined. He checked out the existing code and he did some changes to that file, and he will again commit. So there are new changes inside this cloud, and developer 2 informs developer 1. So he will also, now he will check out again. So you just think push and pull, commit and checkout. Don't confuse with these words. In SVN we call these as committing into the cloud and checking out from the cloud. And in Git we call it as pushing to the cloud and pulling from the cloud. So this is a centralized version control system. This is called second generation. And this is called, there are some technical words you need to remember. Working copy, and this is remote copy. So as the name suggests, you will have a remote copy contains, this is centralized. Centralized means there is only one center having everything. So you will have working copies. You will not have the previous histories or previous branches. So you will understand this while we are discussing distributed control system. The disadvantages here is developer 2 will have only the code he is working on. Developer 1 will have only the code he is working on, that is called working copy. So more developers will be joining. So who will have the complete code with all the histories, all the branches, everything is only this cloud. So that is why it is called centralized. If something happens to this centralized server, everybody loses the previous history of the code, previous branches, previous revisions, everything they will lose. They will have the current copy only. And suddenly, if there is a problem in the working copy, we cannot we cannot revert back to the previous versions. So that is the disadvantages in the centralized control system. So I can give an example for this. For example, you have a capital. Maybe your state or your country may have one capital. Suddenly, one natural where all the development is happening in the capital only. Software companies, industrial, pharma, all the things are happening in the capital only. If some natural disaster comes, then the capital is damaged heavily, then all your development is gone. Your state or country will be in the severe crisis. That is called centralized, because you developed everything in a central location. But if you decentralize the development, for example, software into one city, industries into another city, government buildings into another city, so you are decentralizing the development. Then if something happens to one city, you will be you will get very less damage only, so that you can and that damage is very minimum. You can revert back to the original position within very less time. So that is the centralized revision control system disadvantage. You will get this question maybe when you are going for the interviews. What are the disadvantages of centralized revision control? The disadvantages is, if the centralized server uh, is crashed, then there is no chance of getting the previous versions, previous histories. Only the developers is left with the current version of the code. So that is the disadvantage you can tell in the interviews. And to come out of this disadvantage, you have to maintain the server daily. You have to take the daily backups very carefully. That is the only solution for centralized control system. So that is the second generation. Now we come with the third generation. So now in the third generation, we'll discuss. So this is the centralized version, and this is your laptop. Maybe 3 laptops, I mean 3 developers. So this is called as repo. And he is developer 1, developer 2, developer 3. This is distributed or decentralized. So what this kind of architecture will do is, for example, developer 1 joins the company. He will clone it. So here the technical term clone means, you will understand this while we are doing the practical. Clone means pulling or getting the code, I can say. So whenever he clone the code, this entire repository will come and sit in his laptop with all the histories, all the branches, everything. Some of you, if you don't understand what is branch, everything, you will get full clarity in the upcoming classes. But for now, I'm just explaining the advantages and disadvantages. This is very important. So this repository will come and sit in your laptop, and there is one more thing. This is your local repository. Repo is nothing but folder. Just think that is a folder, repo or folder. So this is one folder. And what you do is, whenever you do some changes, first you will commit into the your local repo. Sorry, I can say this. This is your working copy. So this is your the folder where you work, and there is something called local repo, and we call it as remote repo. So first you will commit your code into the local repository, and then from here you will push it to the central repository. So here if you get the difference, so every laptop will have the complete version of remote repository. For example, if this is crashed, this is crashed, maybe all the laptops and servers, everything crashed. Just one laptop is enough, because every laptop has complete history of this repository, and dev3 laptop is enough to restore back to the original position. You will not lose any history. Maybe you may lose some 1 hour or 2 hours data only, but maximum we can 95% of the code or 95% of the repository, we can still make it into the another central repository. We can do it within an hour. So that is the advantage of this distributed version control system. The name itself suggests distributed, means the remote repository will be similar kind of copy will be existing in all the laptops, so that even the central server crashes, it is very easy to restore back to the original position with all the history and all the branches. But in case of centralized repository, you cannot get the old versions or old branches, because you are containing only the current copy of the code, and the remote contains all the versions of the code. That is the uh, distributed control version control system. So this is very important for interviews or for understanding to start with Git. So everybody from last 4 years, we started using Git only. Here we were using SVN. Almost 95% of projects converted from centralized control system to the distributed control system because of two reasons. So as I said, the first reason I explained you very clearly. Centralized control system, if the server crashes, there is no way of getting the old branches, old histories. And in distributed control system, every laptop contains the same copy. And the second reason is branching and merging features are improved in Git over SVN. Just remember this point. You will get the justification while we are doing the practicals. So this is about the problems without version control system, and how the version control system evolved from first generation to the third generation, and difference between distributed and centralized control system. So if you see carefully, centralized control system is a subset of distributed version control system, and on top of centralized, it has some additional features also, just like maintaining the remote repository in the local laptops or computers. So up to this, any doubts?
No.
Yeah, I have one doubt here. So,
if main system and the developers having the copyright, the what are the codes which are stored in the main server?
Yes. So your
Yeah.
developer
So
laptop will
so
have, tell
yeah,
me.
how can the other developer knows that there is a clone copy which is stored in the development tree server? How can we know that?
So
So is there
whenever,
any
for example,
database entry for that?
yes, I understand. So you are the developer too, working on your copies, and you want to commit that to the this one remote repository, and this remote repository will compare your code whether your code is lagging behind. If it is lagging, it will not. If your laptop has the lagging version than the central repository, it will not allow you to push. It will suggest you to pull. So then you will pull the changes into your repositories. So these things we will get more clarity while doing the practicals, because Git, we can imagine the things, but it will not be clear until you do and you face the problems. So those things we are planning in the sessions today or tomorrow. So I'll explain you everything about this. You can note this question to ask again when we are discussing about this pulling and pushing.
Okay, Shiva, it's fine.
Hi Shiva.
Shiva, am I audible?
Yes, yeah, tell me.
Okay. So in the case of the distributed system, when you were talking about the disaster scenario,
Okay.
so in this, if we understand that the remote repository is gone, developer 1 is gone, developer 2 is gone, the developer 3 is only left with his set of codes and the repository in his local system.
Yes.
So on top of the local system, he has also done in some changes, which you said there maybe could be 1 hour, 2 hours worth of work.
Yes.
So if he goes to restore the remote repository by using the push command, as you said,
Okay.
then how? But since there is no master repository, how would that push happen?
We will install another remote repository in another server, and then we will give that URL in his laptop, and we will push it. Then it will push to the different IP address where the Git server is installed.
All right. Okay. Understand that. Okay. So we'll have to create another remote repository rather than reinstating what is lost. All right. Okay. Makes sense.
So what about?
Okay. So
what about the versioning in that case?
Yeah, Shiva, I have a query.
Yeah, please.
So Shiva, you told that the developer 3 have the multiple history of the files will be there, right?
Yes.
So can we see that whenever he checked out the code from starting and what is happened, everything you can see the differences in the local?
Usually the best practice we follow in the programming or developing is, so maybe at least one time you pull in a day, because you will write something and you want to push it to the remote repository. It will not allow you until you pull the changes.
Yes.
Maybe developer 3 is absent today. He will have only the version till yesterday only.
Yeah, till yesterday he have the a copy of the code, but I want to see whenever you're starting onwards, those changes will be. I can able to see that what are the changes happens from first starting onwards.
Yes, everything you can see. Everyone who did those change, what are the branches, what time, what is the message, everything you can see in your laptop.
So when I checked out the code, only a copy of the code is only available. So where can I see this all?
I will tell you. I'll tell you while we are doing some practical sessions.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
Hi Shiva.
So I think this is questions are enough for now. We'll move ahead, and you just type the questions in the chat. I will answer all of your questions at the end of the session. So now we will Git is the popular things in the distributed control system. So everywhere 99% of companies are using Git only. So We will do some Git installation now. So installing Git. So this is the Windows version. I will go for Windows and I'm downloading it. So the particular Git I'm downloading now is called Git client. So I hope you understand the client server architecture. So there is a remote repo. If you want to connect to this remote repo, you need one client software. So to connect to the Git server in remote, you need Git client. So to connect to the HTTP servers, for example, Facebook is a HTTP site. To connect to that HTTP Facebook server, you need HTTP client, nothing but your browser. So similarly, to connect to the Git central server, you need Git client. So that's what I downloaded now. You just download Git download, you type it and click on Windows and any other Linux. If you're using Ubuntu or whatever, you can connect this. So I'm just installing in Windows.
Hi, Shiva.
Yeah, hi, tell me.
I'm recording the session.
Yeah, I'm recording.
Okay, fine.
So why we use Git? So you can use Git is the popular distributed control system. So that's why we are using Git. It's just like in the browsers, we prefer Google Chrome, right? So Git is one of the distributed control systems. Similarly, you have others also, like Baza something, and a lot of things are there. But Git is most popular. That's why we are using Git. I'm just launching Git bash. So this is the Git client, you can say. So here I may execute some of the basic Linux commands like pwd. It is called present working directory. So now we will create the Git repositories. mkdir, for example, hello old project.
Yeah, Shiva, we're unable to see your screen. I think most of us have the same problem, I believe. Yeah, I think it's better. I think half of the screen is showing a black only.
Sure,
I
you
don't know
might need to
others.
increase font. You might need to increase the font.
Okay.
Yeah, it's better now.
So okay, I created one folder. So this is a folder, but how can I make it as repo, Git repo? Maybe you can think of folder and folder to the repo. So Git repo is a folder, but it will have some additional features. It will have .git. So what is the difference between folder and repo is Git repo will have .git. So to make it as git repo, I need to give a command git init. This is the first basic command. To make any folder as git repository, you need to give this command. That's it. Now it became the git repository. So if you see ls list subdirectories -la, la means hidden. So this git is a hidden folder. So it will contain all the things related to your version control system. So you will understand what are all this, how Git is doing everything with this, with the help of these things. Maybe in future classes, in Git advanced classes, after 5 or 6 hours, 5 or 6 sessions. For now, you just think if any folder contains .git, then it is called as Git repository. Okay. Just clearing the screen. So now this is Git repository. Sorry, I will come one step back. cd space this one. This is one step back. Now I am in Hello World project.
You're talking on mute.
Yeah. Sorry, by mistake it went into the mute. So it is you understood this folder to the repository difference.
Can you please repeat once? You were mute while talking
Oh, sorry, that's
about that.
by mistake. So there is a small difference between normal folder and the Git repository. So Git repository will contains this one .git as a hidden folder. So how will you make a folder into the Git repository is by using Git Init command. Git Init, it means initializing the repository as Git repository. Okay, so this will create .git folder. So it will have the entire, it will do the entire magic on your version control of your project. So this is the first command to make any repository into the Git repository. And the next command is you initialized and you have done some development. You created new files, and then now you want to check the status. Git status. So Git is tracking what are the contents changing, what are the contents removing, everything it will track. Whatever the files and folders inside this repository, it will track. So it is saying untracked files. So something in red color. It is saying hello world.txt is created. Untracked in the sense it is created just now. So what it is saying, git add file to include it in what will be committed. So the next command you should know is git add what are the files you got in red color here. That is hello world something. So now I will add it. Git add hello world.txt. So now it is added. This is very important. Now I am saying what this command will do. So this is called as staging or temporary area. So what is called as staging or temporary area? For example, for a simple example, I am saying I will throw 100 balls on the floor and I will ask you to pick up. So you feel it is very difficult to pick up, right? But if I put all those balls into a single box and if I ask you to pick up, it is very easy for you to pick those balls. So similarly here, your project may have hundreds of files, hundreds of folders. If you do the changes maybe to the 50-60 files, it is very difficult for Git to pick all those files and commit it. So for that, Git inventors, they just added one temporary area that is called staging area. Now Git here will, with the Git status, it will tell you what are the files and folders changed. Now here you will add all those files into the staging area. So better now I will craft this. So whenever you want the changes to be committed, there are some stages. Sorry. So this is your workbench or working copy. From here, first you will add it to the staging area. So these are the mandatory steps. I will tell you more importance of this. How will you do this? Git add and file name. From this, there is one more step, commit. Commit into local repo. So the command for this is git commit -m and some message in this double quotes. So we will just see what are, you will just say I did some changes for your future purpose. So this is until your laptop.
Your voice for all.
Hello, now clear?
Yeah, now it's not clear.
So this is called your local repository. So you have all this setup will be in your laptop. Okay. So from here we will push it to the central repository. So this operation is called as push. So these are the 4 steps you do. First you do some changes, you will add it to the staging area and then committing into the local repository, pushing into the remote repository or central repository. So just remember these technical terms, will be very useful for you while doing the things. So now I told you about this. They will ask maybe in interviews what is staging area. Staging is called a temporary area where you will tell to the Git, these are the files going to be committed. If you don't add this into the staging area, you cannot commit into the local repository. So these are the sequence of the steps. For example, when you are making a satellite, you cannot launch it wherever the satellite is. You will first move it to the launching pad and then you will launch the satellite. Same here, whenever you are developing the code, you cannot directly commit it. First you need to stage it. You mean like you make it ready. That is one thing. And another problem is, maybe you did some changes to the 10 files. Only you are confident about the 5 files, and the time is now 6 o'clock. You have to go to the home, and you will just add those 5 files which is completed into the staging area, and then commit, and then push it to the central repository so that other people can pull down those changes. But you cannot add the uncompleted files into the central repository because it may affect other persons as well. So that is why they introduced staging area into Git. Okay, so now
Siva, can you just repeat the last statement again, please? Sorry.
Yeah, so there are 10 files you changed for today from morning to evening. So you feel 5 files are correct and you completed some functionality in the 5 files. The remaining 5 files, you have some work still to do, but you are leaving to the home. You can you have to push the changes to the central repository because other developers may be dependent on your code. For example, you are developing
Got you.
Yeah, you are developing file 1, file 2. So other developer 2, he is developing file 3, which will call the functionalities from file 2 or Java classes, whatever. So you have done these changes, you will push to the central repository, but file 3 is incomplete. You cannot push these changes to the central repository because it is incomplete. It may cause another problems into another developers. So you will stage only these file 1, file 2, and you will commit it and then push it to the central repository. You still have it this file 3, and tomorrow you come to the office, you will complete it again, you will commit it and push it to the central repository. That is the usage of staging area. So it is giving you one more chance, because simply you cannot commit some wrong code into the central repository because a lot of persons are working with you parallelly, concurrently. It will affect them. So that is the concept of staging area. So I hope this is clear till now.
Yes, Shiva. Thank you.
So Shiva. Shiva, here from the local repo to central repo, it will be like file push, or it will be like a folder push. Entire folder get pushed.
If you create
only the file.
If you had created new folder, it will be entire folder push. If you had created new file, it will be new file push. If you had if you did some changes, it will be only the pushing the changes on. I think some of the people should go to the mute whenever they are not speaking. So I hope it is clear. Any questions till now?
No. Where is the central repo located?
Central repo located maybe in the some server, AWS or Google Cloud, or companies are maintaining some servers. That we will do it. We will create it tomorrow class, our own repository.
Okay. Is this how it works in an organization?
Yes, it is how it is the way, whatever I'm telling you, the same way it will work in the real organizations as well. So we are going to use GitHub or our own repositories also. So shortly, maybe within next 5 to 10 minutes, I will show you how it will work.
Shiva, I have one doubt, sir.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, Shiva, can you show me the diagram actually?
Yeah.
So here, working copy to staging area, you have added one file, right?
Yes.
So like that, when you commit that commit, it will be like commit into your local only, not it is not going to be pushed into central repository. Yes.
Correct.
So like that, I have committed, but I didn't push. It is like a 10 commits I have did in my local.
Okay.
So how can I track those things actually? How many things I have committed? So I don't want to commit. Suppose I have my local 10 commits I did. Okay. In between fifth one I don't want to be commit actually. I want to only commit out of 10 I want to commit 9 changes. I don't want to commit the 50 changes. Is it possible to that one? I can able to track those things?
Yeah, it is possible, but it is not a best practice. So if you have if you don't want some commit, you can delete that commit. So something is committed, it's committed only. If you want the changes again, if you don't want the changes, if you don't want means whatever the changes you did in 9th commit, you just remove those changes.
So that particular commit I can able to remove.
Yeah, you can remove, but it's not a best practice. See, if you are in the latest commit, 10th commit, then you can do some. See, commit in the sense it's not actually removing; it's modifying only. For example, you did some modifications in the 5th commit, and now you are in the 10th commit now. Then you create one more 11th commit, which is solving the errors in 5th commit.
Okay.
So that is the concept of committing or changing the files. Practically, you cannot remove that commit in the 5th commit or 6th commit. Just change the file again. That's the best practice.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Shiva.
Okay.
Got it.
So that is one more point now. So advantages of distributed control system is.
Sure, just a minute, one more thing. So in the staging area, if you're adding single file or adding git add, so if we want to add n number of files, then what can we do? What's the command for that?
If you want all files to add, just add git add dot. If you want n number of files, you need to specify the files. Hello world, hello spring, something. You need to specify file 1, file 2 like this. How you will specify is just file 2. So like this you will specify. If you want all files to be added, whatever the files changed, git add dot.
It is a folder structure then?
Dot means everything, folders, files, whatever it is.
I mean to say I've got 3 files in the staging. 2 are the files and one third one is a nested directory structure. I just wanted to add the nested directory structure, not the 2 files.
You want to add only one directory?
Yes.
Okay. So now let's see this. Now you see git status. It means it comes to the green color. And now we are adding one more directory, example directory. And you are going into that example directory. And you are creating one more file. Something like DevOps. Now you come here, one step back. So this git command will work where you have .git only. Okay. So this will work where you have .git only. Now you check git status. It is saying one more directory is created. It means slash. Now you just add git add example slash. The entire directory will be added to the staging area. Now you check the git status. It comes into the green color and it is saying changes to be committed. So you added into the staging area. Now you need to commit those changes because commit is the next step. So commit is the next step. So until this, I felt some feature is completed. I did some work. I completed my work. So I will give git commit -m first version of my work. So just 1 second. So first version of my work. I gave one message. Message is very important for you to track. So if you carefully see this, until local repo, you don't need any internet connection because it is in your laptop only. That is one of the advantage of distributed control system, because suddenly you may lose internet, but still you can give all the commits into your local repository. Whenever you get internet connection, you push it, all the commits will be pushed to the central repository. So now, till now, we initialized the Git repository, we checked the status, we added new files, we modified some files, and we added it to the staging area, and we committed into the local repository. So now how will you push it into the central repository? So the popular Git central repository is something GitHub. So Git server version. So Git is a concept actually. Git is a concept. Lot of companies implemented this. GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab. So this concept is implemented by a lot of companies. You can select anything. Just like browser is a concept. It is implemented by Chrome, Internet Explorer, Safari, like this. Similarly, Git is concept initialized, implemented by GitHub, Bitbucket, or GitLab. So GitHub, it is very easy and it's open source. We can just create an account and we can use it as a Git central repository. So just type GitHub, github.com. So you need to first sign up. Very simple. Give your username. Okay.
Hello.
Shiva, you're talking on mute, I think.
Oh, sorry. I don't know. It's suddenly sometimes getting into mute. Okay. So now I hope you did not miss more things. I'm choosing free. So now just we can skip this. So they are asking some survey kind of things. So now you can see it is asking, please verify your email address. So I logged in already. So now I verified my email address. So it is first, one second, I want to, okay. So it is asking you to create a repository. So we already created one repository in our local. What is that? That is Hello World project, we are calling it as. So usually you can give the same name here. Just give the same description. This is a repository for Git practice. Public, and say this, skip this step if you are importing any existing repository. So this is my existing repository in local. Now I want to push this to the central repository. So I need to skip this step to initialize. This is just a readme file. So I'm just skipping because I have the repository already in my local. I want to push this to the central repository. Just click on create repository. So now it will give you all the commands you need to follow. We followed this Git Init, and here they created one readme file and added hello world project into that. We already did that and we committed. So from here it is very important. So here you need to add this as remote. Remote in the sense this one, the central or remote repository. So you are adding using Git Remote add origin. Origin in the sense it's a URL only. So I'm adding remote server. This is the URL. It will have SSH or HTTPS. Just select HTTPS. So now I will just get this and I will copy here and paste it. Okay, so now I am adding my central repository URL. It is added. Now it is saying push. Master in the sense master branch. So we are into master. You will know this more about branching later. Just execute this command. Okay, so these are my earlier settings. So this repository I have is with m.sivakumar ID. Just now I created, but earlier I did some work in this laptop, that is with the account SIVA KMR 469. So now I will change it, git config --user.name. I will tell you about this command. User.email. Okay, so I will show you where is this configuration. So whenever you install Git in your user folder, in your user folder, there is something. Okay, where is this? Programs. Config file. Just give me a second because of this old implementation. Yeah, this one .git config. So whenever you install Git, this one .git config will be created, where it will maintain all the configurations about your Git. So now I changed it right here. So git config -- global user .name, this is one, and user .email. Why these two are important is because whenever you are working in an organization, so whenever you do some commit, it has to tell who did this commit at what time, what is his email ID. For example, now if I give git log, it is saying who did this, author Sivakumar Reddy M. This is the one, user .name, and what is his email ID when he did this. So this is the information taken from this config file .config. So you can change this information using these commands or here directly. So this is the earlier one, it is commented and added the new user, new email. Okay. So now, because since it is on sivakmr469@gmail.com, it is saying 403, you don't have access to this. Now I will do one more commit. For example, I'm doing one more change. This is the second change. Now you come and check the status. Git founded, something is modified. Hello world.txt is modified. So what are the steps? You need to add it to the staging area. You need to commit it. And now you can push it. Because it is, I can remove this commit. I can remove this commit, but it is not good to remove the commit. So
Is that hello?
Yeah, tell me.
Your email ID, it's yam.shivkumar Reddy or yam Shivkumar Reddy?
Oh, okay. So now I think, yeah, good point. Now it is trying to this. It's am dot. So I can do the change. So you understood the problem, right? Why it is because I did some work earlier. This is my friend's laptop, so that's why it is not allowing us. So again, anyhow, it will not be completed. So what I will do is I will quickly create one more repository. One folder. It's already exists. Sample folder. So first I will initialize it, and then I will add another files. Just hi. I will check the status. I will add it to the staging area. I will commit it. So before commit, just make sure who are you by going into the .config file. Yeah, this is the username, my Git Remote repository. This is the email I subscribe to. Okay, this is fine. Git push origin master. So origin I have not added here. So what is the command to add? Git remote Git remote add origin. This is the command to add the central repository URL. Git remote add origin. You can get it from here, this one. I add it and then I will push. Still it is referring somewhere to COKMR 469.
Shiva, you are given the access to while creating the repository, given the permission.
It's a public repository only.
I think reboot required to reflect the changes in config file.
No, I think I can just exit off.
Shiva, can you check the git config list?
So I'll just exit off this terminal and open it. So on branch master, nothing to comment. Now git push origin master. Okay. So let me go through this one more dot git. Here there is one more config file. Okay.
Shiva, please check the user is using the git config list.
Yes, so there is that command. I'll just git list down config.
Git config.
Yeah.
That is the command.
So I cannot remember all the commands. I will just be getting it from Google. Okay, here OpenSSL true, false, manager, M Sivakumar Reddy, M. Sivakumar Reddy. So everywhere it is the same. So,
or else you can try Git Remote set URL.
Git Remote?
Set URL, set -URL, space origin. file in the ID tab.
Yeah, origin is this one. So this is the remote URL. So this is my username. The same username is configured here. Can you find somewhere it is referring to my old username SIVAKMR469. That is the only problem. This one. So better I will remove this. Anyhow, this is commented one.
Hello.
There is no dot after yum, right?
In username there is no dot actually. It will not accept. So this is the real-time problems when you get this type of problems when you are working. So it's a challenge for us to solve. So clearly my get log says M Sivakumar Reddy, M dot Sivakumar Reddy only. Okay, just let us just
Shiva, to push -u origin, right?
no, get push origin only.
No, -u attribute is missing.
I'll just blindly search this error in internet. So I'll see.
Where it goes is like it is asking us to remove GitHub keys from control panel, user account, credential manager.
Oh, git push hyphen. Git push hyphen u. Why this u? If this don't solve your problem, try to delete your stored Git credentials. Control panel shows manager window credentials. Move the GitHub keys. Okay, so this is when they use SSH. We'll search for another problem.
Delete your credentials from credential manager. It will work.
Trying to delete Windows credentials and remove the GitHub keys. Okay, let's go to this path. So this problem comes, you are two developers are working from the same laptop. Earlier I logged in with different Git, now I logged in with different Git. User accounts, credentials manager. User accounts, where is credential manager? Okay. Manage your credentials, Windows credentials, and then generic credentials. This one, generic credentials, and remove the GitHub.
Remove the Git.
Here it is.
At the bottom, there is edit and remove. Click the GitHub.
Yeah.
At bottom, there is remove.
Now we removed it. Yes. So this is the problem I faced for the first time. You can enter email or username. So even I'm facing the problem for the first time. So I just blindly type the error in the Google. I get some solution. I'll simply try this. This is how we work actually. The problem which will never happen in the real time because everybody has their own laptop. Nobody works in the same laptop again and again. So now it is pushed to the central repository. It has new branch it is saying. So this is the first commit. All the setup is pushed into the central repository, whatever the, just refresh this. Now you got your code, hello.txt. So it is saying hi. So up to this, are you clear?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
So
Shiva, can you tell me the difference between README file and .git?
what is that?
Difference between README file and .git.
README file is just like whenever you buy some software, they will give you some README, right? How to install, how to do those things. Here in Git, read.md is a template created by Git. You will write something about your repositories. For example, if you find some open source projects like Linux,
So that will not track any changes regarding our repository, right?
that will also be tracked. Everything will be tracked. But you can, there is a way to ignore this. We'll go to, for every open source project usually. So this is the Linux source code, so Linux open source project. Here you can see the README file. This is the README file. So GitHub or any other Bitbucket or GitLab, it will store, it will just display the README file content here. Okay, this is one README. So it does not have any specific importance related to the source code. It's just giving you an information, but still that also will be tracked. Everything will be tracked. There is a way to ignore it, something called .ignore. .git ignore. For example, one step back. Okay, so I'm in the folder. Here I added some settings file. So you have .settings file. You don't want Git to track this. Then you will, what you do is you will create .git ignore and mention this .settings. Okay, now you check .git status. It is not saying .settings is created. So I think you're confused. I will create one more file, dummy file, dummy.txt. Now you check the Git status. Git found that dummy.txt is created just now. You need all these things. Git add something. Now if you want to ignore this file, you need to make an entry inside the .git ignore file. Dummy.txt. From now onwards, your Git will not track that file. This file will not be tracked by Git. Okay, so but you need to add this. So this is also an important thing. So how to ignore the files? For example, whenever we develop a code in the IDEs like Java, Eclipse, and then IntelliJ, and it will create lot of unnecessary files in your local while you are building target folder, jar files, war files. Those files should not be committed into the Git. GitHub or any Git server is only intended to host the or to hold the source code, not the jar files, war files, and some big files. It will just hold the source code only. Even images also you should not commit into the Git repositories. It's a bad practice. You have to maintain the file server. Okay.
So we can't add or we can't commit without .git folder, right?
Without .git you cannot.
Okay.
So can we ignore folder as well in git ignore?
You can ignore anything. For example, if you see sample git ignore, just get this. If you make an entry in this, you can just ignore that file, provided that file is within that GitHub folder. So this is how you ignore the files. You don't want .log files to be committed into the repositories. You don't want some zip files, jar files, all these things not to be committed, exe files. Then you will just make an entry in here and you will push it. Those, apart from those files, everything will be pushed. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay, so we will end this today, and tomorrow we will install our own Git server called Bitbucket. So enterprise companies, they don't use GitHub because code is in the GitHub company. GitHub company will have the full access and they can do something. So if you are working in a banking project, it is banking projects will not allow you to push the code to the GitHub because it's a public site. GitHub employees can get your code. So we will create our own server, and then we will create we will install the Bitbucket software inside that so that it is into our full access only. So from tomorrow onwards, we don't use GitHub. We create our own server Bitbucket. We will install it and then we start using it. So from tomorrow, we will discuss these things: Bitbucket installation, Git merge, rebase. It's a bit intermediate concepts you need to understand when you're working as developer, tester, whatever it is. Nowadays, everybody is doing scripts. They need to use Git only.
Okay, is
Okay,
GitLab
Shiva.
also open source?
Yeah, GitLab community edition is there, enterprise edition is there. If you take the community edition, they will not provide you the support whenever you face some problem. If you take enterprise version, they will provide you the support. That's it. So for practical purpose, we will use community edition because there is no difference actually. When you face some problem, then you need support. You have to buy enterprise edition. That's it.
Okay. So now we are using Git bash to commit and add all those things, right? So
Git,
instead of this, we can use Git GUI.
Git GUI also you can do, but better to learn Git command line.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm comfortable with command line only.
GUI or else bash max number of times.
What?
In real time, we'll be using GUI or else bash.
Bash only. So once you start using Git, you feel comfortable with the commands, not GUI.
Okay.
Okay. So I think we can end this today, and we faced some initial setup from.
Hello?
Yeah. Hello. Yes, Kishore.
Hello?
Yeah. Tell me.
Yeah, I have one doubt.
Yes.
Okay, why we use a Git?
Because we are discussing Git classes, I am using Git. There are so many other distributed control systems as well, something like Badger and Mercury. Out of that, Git is popular. Why are you using Google Chrome? Because it gives you more flexibility than other servers. So most of the companies selected Git because it is a better concept and it has more more support and more sources to learn easily, more resources to learn easily.
Okay.
And it has more
Is
community.
it like browser?
No, I'm saying it's a popular software in distributed control system.
Okay.
So Shiva, I have one small question, right? So I'm actually new to Git, and so now you have shown that you have got your local repo and you have pushed it to your actual main repo, right?
Yes.
Which is on the GitHub, right? So I'm also doing something in parallel, but I'm actually having a different repo different local repo from my laptop, and I'm giving it to different, again, the actual repo which is on your GitHub. So is it possible for me to see what code you have written? Like you mentioned, it's public. If I can search what are the codes that someone has written, is it possible I can search on GitHub?
Yes, you can see
If
now. Now I'm referring to Linus Torvalds. He's the inventor of Git and he's the inventor of Linux.
Okay.
So all the open source projects you can find it in the GitHub.
Now, suppose you have created something. Is it possible I can go and search for your content
You
in
can.
GitHub?
If you know the URL, you can definitely go and refer it.
Okay.
So
So that's the reason why the banking sector does not encourage this, because of security concerns. They
so
do
you
not
can
want to share
create
the code
private
anywhere
repositories
outside.
also. If you pay to the GitHub, it will not allow other persons to view your repositories. But still, GitHub employees can view your code, right?
Okay.
So your code is in GitHub company servers. So that's why we don't encourage in any not only banking. Nobody wants their code into some public sites.
Right.
So, so you mean to say is that I can replicate any public repository?
Yes, you can. So that is the command of git clone. So we will start doing that from tomorrow. So till now you created the repository in local and you pushed it to the central repository. You are the developer 1. Developer 2 joined the company. He wants this code into his laptop. Then he will give git clone and this URL. Where is this? This URL. Then all the code will come and sit in his laptop.
I think
So the second developer needs.
Yeah. So okay. I think so. Today class more we faced some setup problems and setup related issues. From tomorrow we will make it very clear. And all of you, I want you to be in mute whenever the session is going on. Whenever you get the doubt, really you can type it, or I will ask in between the session whether you have doubts or not. Okay.
Okay.
See you for today. I will upload this recording and share it to you all.
Thanks a lot, Shiva.
All right. Thank you, Shiva. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Shiva. Good night.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Shiva. Bye-bye.
So thank you. So same time.
Thank you, Shiva.
Shiva, it's the same time tomorrow also, 8 to 9?